Welcome to the Massage Therapy Podcast. I'm Heather Rivers, RMT.
And I'm Nicole Andrews, registered massage therapist and contemporary medical acupuncturist.
Perfect. We're both registered massage therapists in Ontario. We're colleagues with more than 13 years of combined experience. We're both female small business owners, and we both have a passion for health and wellness. So I
We
want,
do.
yes. But before we started today, we wanted to kind of touch on what's going on in the world right now.
Mhm.
Right now, we're both actually at our own homes doing this remotely because of COVID-19 and social distancing. We felt that since our hands-on has been suspended by our college, well, recommended suspension, that we would start working on our other projects that we want to touch on. So why we're here today.
Absolutely. Why not be productive while we're not actually at work being productive?
Exactly. And then, like we were talking about, this might also give people something else to listen to other than the media, because there's a lot of stress and anxiety that's happening right now. So this maybe will be our way to help offset that and give some people something else to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, for today, we're going to start off with introductions, who we are, what our background is. Wanted to start off with Nicole and what led her into massage and her why of being here, all of that. So, let's kind of start at the beginning, and I'll throw it your way of, the transition from high school into post-secondary and your decision and what led you to massage.
That sounds fun to talk about. A long journey. So,
Yeah.
I'll start with I've been a massage therapist for almost 11 years now, which is crazy to think about. I went right from high school into college. I went to Sir Sanford Fleming in Peterborough. I did their 3 year advanced massage therapy program at the time. Um, and what led me there was actually my mom. She suggested I take the massage therapy program. I
Oh,
wasn't
really?
entirely sure. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I knew it was healthcare. I applied to the typical nursing and paramedic and all of that. But she
Mhm.
suggested massage. So I applied, and through talking to the school counselor, I decided that I would start at the massage therapy program. And if it wasn't for me, I would transfer credit overs. And within the very first week of lectures and labs, I just knew it was totally for me. It was definitely the career that I was looking for. So that was good. Thanks, Mom.
You just fell in love with it immediately.
I did, and I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, part of it must have been. Well, I love the content, healthcare. I have a passion for
Mhm.
healthcare in general, and I love science, big science nerd. But
Mhm.
I think the passion my teachers had really, really like rubbed off on me. It was very apparent that they loved what they did, and I wanted to love what I do too, because you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. So
Mhm. It's
here I am,
perfect.
11 years, never worked. It's really wild.
Hmm.
So
Perfect.
from yeah, I don't know. Where do we go from there? I guess from there, when I graduated, I moved to northern British Columbia.
Mhm.
So I actually didn't work in Ontario at all. I wrote my provincial exams and got all registered here and moved
Mhm.
directly out to northern BC um, to work out there. I followed a boy, as most people do out there.
Well,
But
when you're that young, when you graduate too, you're
mm,
just hitting the ground running and yeah, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I actually moved out there just as we were across Canada doing, or they were forming the sort of BC Ontario Massage Therapy
Mhm.
Alliance, where you can go from different provinces. So
Mhm.
I must have called the CMTBC and CMTO 100 million times to figure out what's going on. And they didn't really figure it out until like that April, May, when I
Right.
actually graduated. And I moved out there in the July. So it was one of the first few. Uh, it was really, really fun, actually. They didn't make it too difficult, and I don't think it's that difficult even now. So
Hmm.
uh,
So explain a
it,
little bit what that process might be when you
yeah, for
did it.
sure.
I know things
I
might
did
have, like we said, different now.
So when I went out there, all I had to do was write a um, sorry, I'm just sort of
That's
blanking,
okay.
staring at the wall.
That's okay.
uh, all I had to do was a standard and ethics test, like health law standard and ethics test for the province because they differ a little bit.
Right.
I just had to do it online. They sent
Mhm.
me all of the literature of all the standard and ethics that I would need, and then they just sent me the test. So it's a pretty open book, just like solely for the fact that they knew that I had read it and thought, so that if anything were to happen, it wouldn't be like, oh, I didn't know kind of idea.
Mhm.
I think that was what it was at the time.
Right.
They were really efficient. I wrote the test, passed it, and within 24 hours, I was able to go look for a job to work. It was pretty fantastic,
That's
actually.
wild.
Yeah, Ontario was like 6 weeks. Like it was crazy how long we
Right.
waited here for that. So
Well,
yeah,
especially after writing your OSCE, your MCQ, like that process takes a bit. Then to like, and
absolutely.
then apply, get that information and then apply. And then usually after you apply for your GC, it's pretty quick after that, but the whole process from
Yes.
MCQ to working does take a little while for sure. So once you had that all done and you could start working in BC, you opened up shop right away.
I did. I actually started working at a multidisciplinary clinic out there, Peace Clinic of Naturopathic Medicine. It's a lovely place. There's a few a chiropractor, a few naturopaths, and then a few of us RMTs were working there at the time. I was really lucky that there weren't many registered massage therapists in the city at all. I think there was 8 of us in the entire city of Fort St. John when I showed up. So
And how many
this
people
was
would you
good.
say in the city?
Probably about 25,000. So not that
Still?
big, but it served like
Mhm.
all of Peace region. So it served a lot of
Right.
people. I can't even tell you probably more like served maybe around like 100,000 when you add in all the people
Mhm.
around. So 8 for 100,000, probably not
Yeah,
bad for
it's
business.
yeah. You guys were
Yeah.
pretty busy.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was really good. So I was really lucky to be sort of thrown right into being pretty busy. Like wasn't full schedule, but
Mhm.
busy enough that I didn't feel I had to worry, which was totally different when I moved back from BC a year later. Ontario, there's lots more people here. Also, I did find that in northern BC, the doctors were very much open to using massage therapists as a healthcare option because there wasn't a
To
whole lot.
refer to you.
Yeah, because there wasn't a whole
Yeah.
lot out there.
Right.
Not tons of physios or even doctors.
Mhm.
I know at one point the medical center there actually to close down because there wasn't a doctor even working it. So it's one of
Wow.
those places. So that was really nice too. So we got to see a lot of really interesting things straight out of school. That some of them I don't even think I've seen since I've been back. So that was really
Wow.
neat.
So the culture with the other like medical professionals, colleagues in a sense, we'll say, is much different there, you would say, than in Ontario?
Yeah, it was at the time. I'm finding it's
Hmm.
changing now over the
Right.
last few years, probably. But
Hmm.
yeah, out there, we were definitely seeing like I always felt like right up as like equal, like any hero we talked to, anything like that.
Hmm.
Whereas here, it depends on like the health professional you're talking to. Obviously, they're not
Yeah.
all made the same, but I did find out there they very much were like, all right, well, um, I mean, I just do this, like in a sense,
Hmm.
like I worked with a chiro. She's like, I don't do soft tissue. That's like not my jam, right?
Right.
So she very much referred because she was so busy doing the chiro stuff.
Hmm.
So she really much they sort of put their clients in like I guess sort of like a compartment, like you go here for this and you come here for that and that kind of thing. So that was kind of interesting.
Hmm. And what would you
Mm-hmm.
say, as again, not with your healthcare professionals, but the idea of massage therapy with clients in the general public, do they really buy into it? Do you see a difference between their dynamic and our dynamic here in Ontario
Um,
with people wanting to go and really understanding what massage can do for you?
what? I definitely saw more like I guess you could say more therapeutic cases out
Hmm.
there. There was
Okay.
definitely, yeah. So the culture there, a lot of people worked in an oil field, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. So I did find I saw a lot more sort of therapy type of stuff. Whereas when I started back here, it felt sort of like the typical like back pain, right? Neck
Mm-hmm.
pain, headaches. Whereas out there, I did see a larger sort of group of people who were using massage therapy. And I do think that did directly really back to the fact that it was a 6 month wait to get in to see a physiotherapist for like a
Wow.
chronic injury that wasn't acute that kept you out of work. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the people got on that maintenance train much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I found out there too. So they would be like, all right, now that we've gotten this better, how do I keep it good? Do you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
did find that, which is interesting coming straight out of school and then moving home and seeing that not be the case. I had like a really weird view. It was obviously starting all over again, coming back to
Mm-hmm.
like from BC, but it was very much starting all over again from there.
Right.
So it was interesting. Mm-hmm.
So you saw a lot more maybe like acute cases or acute flare-ups of chronic injuries, and then you saw a lot more there, and then they moved into that transition to more preventative care. Do you remember any specific little cases, interesting cases that from out there?
Um, One really neat one was like in the first 6 months while I worked out there, I had a client who was a really old school farmer, and he was sent to me by his doctor because he was getting really severe neck pain with referral pain down his arm into his hand, neurological stuff. And after some testing, it was definitely thoracic outlet syndrome, TOS, very
Mm,
apparent just from sitting on the tractor, looking over his shoulder, seeing what was happening behind him. So that
right.
was really, really neat. His case was interesting because he didn't think massage was going to happen at all, but he had nowhere else to go. So he just came because he had nowhere else to go and no one else would help, like could like to help. So
Right.
it was an interesting case, being like so new out, having to be, I don't know, being so young too. It was like,
Mhm.
oh well, I guess you're the professional, like you're the
Right.
expert. And I'm like, I am not anywhere close to an expert. So what are you talking about? But let me show you how massage can help, right? So that was
Right.
really cool. I built a lot of confidence being up there in that first
Hmm.
year,
Right.
and what we do. Mm-hmm.
So did you turn that farmer into a preventative care maintenance believer and massage after?
Abs Absolutely. Yeah, he came
What?
back quite feelingly. I
Awesome.
remember telling him that I was leaving and he was quite sad about it.
Oh,
Obviously, yeah, it was very sweet actually.
yeah.
He was a really fun client to see. Um, it was interesting. I hope that he still is getting massage out there
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
for sure.
hmm
So you mentioned being really young there. So just to put it into context, when you graduated and moved out, how old were you? Out to BC.
So I was 21 and turned 22 when I was out there. So
Wow.
it was in that July. So my birthday's in July. So
Hmm.
my very first day as a registered massage therapist making money in a clinic was my 22nd birthday.
Oh my
So it
gosh.
was really, yeah, it was lovely. Never gonna work a birthday ever again. That was like the only one. But yeah, it was so 22. So that dates me now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 10 years into it, but uh, yeah, it was really, really young. But
Yeah.
I look back now and that's fine.
Yeah, to be so young, to be somebody's essentially part of their healthcare team, making
hmm
not maybe as obviously as big as decisions as their general practitioner, but being involved
hmm
in their healthcare, and also from a business standpoint, being whether I guess an employee you could be, but a
hmm
small business owner or contractor, what however your practice looks out, it's pretty young.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
it was interesting.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be an employee of the clinic. I was still
Okay.
paid fee for service, but
Hmm.
I don't know how they work that, but I was an employee.
Hmm.
So that was great. But I did do a lot of stuff on the side. I had my own
Right.
like home care practice, which was crazy because I knew nothing about business. I'm sure
Hmm.
you feel this way too,
Hmm.
that like I learned a little bit about business, but not a whole lot about how to actually run a business while I was in
Yeah.
school. So that was muddy waters starting out doing that kind of thing, like setting up files and
Mhm.
keeping track of all of that. And you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
booking appointments. Like there was so much to it that I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but that's okay. If I did mess it up, I left it all behind anyway, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So you're out there, you're working in clinic, you're doing some stuff on the side. How long were you there for? Or I guess I should ask, when you were out there having your license, did you also have your general certificate in Ontario as well? Or did you just only have your BC registration?
So I wasn't 100% sure exactly how long I was gonna be out there. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be like 6 months, 12 months, 5 years. I didn't really know.
Mhm.
So when I got my GC in Ontario, I had to have a general certificate to apply to BC.
Mm,
So at the time, it couldn't have been an inactive. So I
right.
had to have a GC. So I went out there, applied. They never changed it back, just in
Hmm.
case like I came back really soon,
Right.
or in case when I came back at the 6 month mark for Christmas, I wanted to treat people, which I didn't. But I kept it a GC just so that I had the option.
Kept your options
And
open.
I knew that and I knew I hadn't treated here at all. So if anything had gone astray, I knew I could show that I didn't actually
Right.
treat. I look back and maybe I should have knowing that I was out there a full year, I should have changed it at some point to inactive. But again, hindsight 2020, I didn't
Yeah.
actually know how long. So yeah.
Yeah, again, you're keeping your options open and doing what's best for you. So, perfect. So, how long were you out in BC before you decided to come home to Ontario?
I was out there a full calendar year. I basically went out there mid late July and I came home and was home for my, I guess it would have been 23rd birthday. So I
Oh,
was there
wow.
literally one exact calendar year. Uh, that's just how
Yep.
the cards fell. The boy I had followed came back to go back to university. So
Okay.
he started in September. So that's why we came home so that I could start a practice here. So I actually was really lucky that while I was in school, I had met a chiropractor
Hmm.
up in Uxbridge, Ontario. And he had said, whenever I graduated, if I wanted a job, let him know, just like casual like that.
Yeah.
And I know I had gone to the clinic since I was like little. I've been having chiropractic
Hmm.
since I was about, I don't even know, like weeks, months old. I was
Oh,
very
really?
small. And I've been having massage since I was probably about 8. So I've been in that world. So I knew the clinic, knew the chiro.
Hmm.
And so when I was coming back, I gave him a call and was like, hey, you still looking for massage therapist? And he said, actually, RMT just decided to go out on our own. We have a room. And I'm like, the universe just knows these things.
Yep.
So I came back and walked straight into working at a clinic. It worked out really well.
Mm, wow. Straight.
Mhm.
And was that so that was just a chiropractor and massage therapist, or was there other disciplines as well?
Nothing else. It was just two
Just the chiropractor.
chiropractors. They
Okay.
alternated days, and then just me at the back of the clinic doing my own jam.
Perfect. So did you work kind of subcontracting there, use the front desk, or did you completely work separate under their
Sort of building.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So it's not COVID. I've been in house too long.
Yeah.
So I when I was working there, I used their front staff. I paid them like a split percentage with a min
Okay.
max,
Hmm.
which is interesting that I came back to that because after I was working there, I actually found it really difficult and actually never did find anywhere else I would do a split percentage with
Hmm.
a min max. So
Really?
it's interesting again that I came back to that and that wasn't the like true reality of what was out there
Yeah.
as I they he was fantastic. So we did the min max. I
Hmm.
think we did a 70-30 split
Hmm.
right off the hop, again, which is not normal even
No.
now.
No, it's not.
So had I being that we're in Oshawa,
Hmm.
had I have known that I was going to live out there, I probably would have stayed up there and stayed in that clinic. It was a lovely setup, no pressure. We really did just work together. It
Right.
was really, really nice. So yeah, but seeing as I moved a little more south,
Yep.
and it was in Oshawa, and it's like a 40-minute drive to Uxbridge from where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, it adds to it. And that's not always the best drive when it's those winter months sometimes. So,
Exactly. Yeah. So that absolutely going up that snowy lake ridge is sometimes a
yeah.
bit sketchy. So, but it was
Yeah.
good. I worked there. How long was it there? 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And while I was there, I split my time also to another
Okay.
chiropractic clinic here in Oshawa. I sort of have
Right.
always done more than one clinic, and my own thing on the side. So I always
Hmm.
had like a bunch of different things going on all at the same time, until fast forward a few years, to open up the place that we're currently at. So yeah.
Yeah. So tell a little
Mhm.
bit of that transition, from working in a multidisciplinary into your own place, maybe a little bit of like the driving force and what kind of got you in that where you are today.
That's a great question. So I actually had never thought that I would be in my own like clinic space. I really loved the multidisciplinary. I loved working with other healthcare professionals, the camaraderie. I really liked that whole piece. But while I was at McMaster taking my acupuncture, and trying to figure out how I would work that into my treatments, I just had this like moment, sitting in the hotel with the other RMT that I was doing the course with, where I was just like, I need to be on my own. Like I really,
Mhm.
for me to be able to integrate this particular modality into my massage therapy treatments in the way I want to, I don't think it's going to fly the way they want to do it, because they wanted to generously supply the needles, but they wanted to like charge, 15 extra dollars per treatment. And I just,
Mhm.
or something like that. It was just, I felt like I was, and when I had cupping and taping and all these things, the model in which I wanted to be able to offer what I had in my toolbox to clients, I didn't think really worked in that clinic anymore.
Right.
So, um, as again, the universe would have it, I just kind of fluky was talking to a naturopath friend of mine about
Hmm.
kind of those things. And she said that a building where her and I actually met and worked out of was had some rental spaces, and I should go look at it, because I had worked in the building for another chiropractor who since left, and she was like, "Go take a look. I think it would really work for you." So I called up the building owner. That was like early April, and we met. And by May 1st, I went and signed a lease. So it was like super quick, like jumped
Like,
straight in with both feet, like no questions asked. Saw the unit, was like, this is perfect. The rent is perfect. The location's perfect. Like
right.
I have to do this. This opportunities only happen once, and sometimes
Yep.
you just need to grab them and throw yourself at it. So that's what I did. I'm very lucky my husband's so supportive,
Hmm.
because I was, busy, settled at a clinic, and I was like, I think I need to do this. And he was like, if you think you need to do it and you think that it's going to work, then I trust you, because
Hmm.
I'm sure you've thought about everything under the sun that could go wrong. And if you still think it's good, then I trust that. So,
Yeah, that's such a big leap, because it seems to be a trend, that massage therapists don't know how this comes about, if it's from external or our internal or our schooling. There could be so many factors that we can't make it on our own. We need that
yes.
referral of the chiropractor, the physio. We need to work in a clinic. That's the only way we can have a busy schedule. And it's not true at all, at all.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Hmm.
A lot of, yeah, I maybe that might have been the reason I always felt I would never sort of be on my own. I felt
Hmm.
very codependent on having that kind of model for treatment referrals. But a lot of people are starting to see massage therapy independently of like
Hmm.
seeing their chiropractor, seeing their physio, or all of those things. Are kind of, I'm finding, funneling towards massage therapy
Hmm.
on their own accord, or being sent to massage therapy from directly from their primary healthcare practitioner, like their
Hmm.
medical doctor, right?
Hmm.
So I think that, is something like a really fantastic trend that's starting to happen,
Yeah.
nowadays, which is really,
Yeah.
really great for a lot of RMTs. But yeah, I never thought I'd jump into it, and now I don't think I could ever go back
Yeah,
to that big clinic sense,
definitely.
in that way, like being
Hmm.
solely independent. Like I could be independent in a clinic, but I don't think I could be, I don't know, of that model where like, maybe a lot of RMTs probably
You're,
understand that, where you
yeah.
feel like you're an employee, but you're
You're
not an
on,
employee.
you're under their umbrella,
Yes,
but like you're a
absolutely.
subcontractor, but you're under, yeah, for sure. So it
Yeah,
seems
you know what I
like,
mean. Mm-hmm.
yeah, seems like from leaving high school all the way through like the underlying continuous main theme is that you kind of just jump off that cliff and it's some whatever it is, the universe is there to catch you, and things
Yeah, I
just
guess so.
and things just happen. Like you went out, you got into a great place, you came back home, within a day or so, you were in another great clinic. And then now, you switch and you say, this is my next thing. This is my want. This is, you put it out in the universe, and then the
Hmm.
opportunity presents itself. Like that is amazing. Like
Yeah.
so cool.
It does seem that way now that you put it
Yeah.
into that perspective. It didn't
Hmm.
feel that way, I guess, to me at the
Hmm.
time, just because it was sort of like the flow of like, oh, that's the next, I guess that's the next thing. I
Right.
think, what is it? Oprah has a saying out there, there's no luck. It's just being prepared and ready for
Yep.
that opportunity to come.
Yep.
Something of that nature.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
quote that.
preparedness and
But
opportunity meet. That is what is luck. Yeah.
perfect. That
Yeah.
is exactly it. So yeah, I totally believe sort of in that. I'm definitely one of those people that if someone has an idea or sort of an opportunity, I
Hmm.
don't discount it immediately. I'm definitely very open to all of those
Yeah.
types of things just because you never know, like this
Hmm.
podcast. You think
Yep.
I don't think I'd ever be doing this, but here I am because you had this like little fire in you and you're like, let's do
Yeah.
it. So I'm like, okay, let's try it.
I have a slight obsession now with podcasts.
uh, it's lovely. I
Yeah.
would have more if I had the time. The toddler takes
Yes.
a lot of time
Yes.
from
They
me.
they do. So I wanted to kind of slightly rewind a bit because you touched on going to McMaster and to Fleming, and I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about both educations. You said you had a wonderful time at Fleming doing your massage. Can you describe that program a bit, like how long it is and little what classes were like, what your kind of day to day or your week to week, let's say, would have been like?
I think like most RMTs, schooling was intense. It was the
Hmm.
most intense thing I've ever done in my entire life,
Yeah.
and probably the scariest thing too. Their program incredibly well organized, thought out. The teachers do a very good job of making sure people don't fall through the cracks if you're
Hmm.
struggling. There's so much support and help, and there's such a great community within that program. While I was there, and I'm sure still is because a lot of teachers are still there.
Hmm.
Um, so it was a 3-year program at the time, uh, which was fantastic because I was so young going into it. I don't think I would have wanted to do any less
Hmm.
than that.
Right.
Let's see, that it was Monday to Friday, sort of like the 8 to 4. It seemed like it was full time school,
Hmm.
and they did like the traditional. It's a traditional school, so it's not like Sutherland Chan or anything like that.
Yeah.
So they did the 8 months of school,
Hmm.
then you get the 4 months of summer.
Right.
They Fleming at the time had well, still does, has 2 reading weeks, so that was really fantastic for your
Hmm.
brain not to go melty after
Yes.
midterms of that first semester.
Yep.
So that was really really nice. So it'd be like 7 weeks of school, midterms, then a week off, and then seven
Hmm.
weeks of school, and
And
finals, and
it's worth to mention at that time when you were going to school there, 08, 09 area, um, not all post-secondary schools had a fall and a winter reading week.
no, it was very
So
rare. Probably
yeah,
part of the reason I went.
yeah,
I was like, awesome, time off. What I
yeah,
didn't realize is that means they shove everything into like 1 week sooner, right? So
right.
that was, you have
But
one less week to learn everything you need to know.
yeah, but that break is definitely welcomed. So
Hmm.
you were going to class, and you had mentioned before they had clinic on campus.
Hmm.
So people
Yeah.
would once a week you were in the clinic taking clients.
Yeah, so they did
Okay.
once a week and they had a few different shifts
Hmm.
depending. So it was like a general open clinic.
Hmm.
They offered a few different clinics. So they had the general open clinic at the school.
Hmm.
They also, for semester 6, like third year students, ran a prenatal clinic. They had a hospice clinic, and then they had a sort of varsity sport injury clinic that they ran out of the Peterborough Rec Center. Uh,
Oh.
while I was there. I'm sure they've
Hmm.
added to all of that. I was lucky enough to do a few semesters at the varsity sport clinic because I felt the sports massage was the route I
Hmm.
was going to go. It didn't happen, but that's a whole different story with
Yep.
that. But with that, it was good. I found I learned a lot about um, cute, just general injury maintenance, which
Hmm.
I find I use a lot, even though I don't have any like sport athlete type of clients. So that was really nice, just like the general like soccer player. And
Hmm.
then I have clients who play rec soccer. You know what I mean? So you get
Right.
like a lot of crossover.
Hmm.
I also did the prenatal massage clinic, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Uh, that was a lot of fun, and I absolutely love working on prenatal clients. I don't specifically advertise to them or anything like that, but I do find that I get quite a few of them.
Hmm.
And since having a baby on my own, I will say it was probably the most beneficial therapy outside of chiropractor that I had that helped me along the whole
Was
process. So,
was massage. Yeah, definitely.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was good. And it was free to the prenatal clients. They just
Oh,
had to
that's
bring their own sheets.
oh, that's wonderful. That's amazing that
Yeah, it
they
was really
offered
good.
that free service. So
Yeah.
cool. So then we already kind of talked that you graduated from there after 3 years. And then a few years into your practice, you mentioned you did your medical acupuncture at McMaster. Can you talk a little bit to that and what that experience was like?
Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing. I'm really glad I took my acupuncture there.
Hmm.
I've been having acupuncture from a naturopath for a number of years. So it was always something I really loved having as a personal treatment to myself.
Hmm.
And the RMT and I that took it, we sort of started seeing that like, we like having it done, how we could probably implement that kind of thing into massage therapy treatment. And it is a little more popular now because they've now regulated it within our college over the last 3 years. Lucky for me, while I was in school for acupuncture, they decided to start putting all the rules of how they were regulating it. So we were on our toes near the end of that, being
Oh,
like, oh
perfect.
God, like, what do these things look like? What do I need to
Hmm.
do? But it all worked out okay. The McMaster checked more than the boxes that they required. So that was fantastic. That was really good. It was really intense. It was about 5 months. We would go every third weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to McMaster, and yeah, just live in lecture and lab class. It was fantastic.
Hmm.
I came out of that feeling incredibly prepared for something that I never thought I could actually do. Because, like, sort of cycling back, one of the reasons I also decided to go into massage therapy as opposed to the other programs I applied to, one being nursing, was I didn't think I could put needles in people. That
Oh,
seemed like
really?
something I thought,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh God, that
Hmm.
seems strange. And now here I am, putting
Putting
needles
needles
into
into
people. I
people.
mean, yeah, I mean, it's not to draw blood, they're not the
No,
exact same, but
no.
yeah, I didn't think it was something that I could do. And but here I am doing it for a completely different reason and whatever. But yeah, it was
Hmm.
they do a very, very good job. I would highly recommend them there. I think everyone in the program, again, it had a really great sense of community. You
Hmm.
sort of find like your niche of people that are like you, and they had like a wide range of like different therapies and
Oh, okay.
practitioners in there. There was massage and physio,
Oh, cool.
naturopath. There was chiropractors. There was a doctor from like a medical doctor from New York.
Oh,
People come
cool.
from like all over the world. I think one of the naturopath, I think he was from like Sweden or something. Like it was
Oh,
crazy.
man.
People come from all over. Norway, I
Wow.
don't know, something like that. They people come from all over to take this particular
Hmm.
acupuncture program. I mean, the founder goes all over the world and does it. He's a
Hmm.
sport medicine doctor from Spain.
Yep.
He's pretty well known, but yeah, people fly from all over the place, which I didn't know until I got into the program. But that
Oh,
felt
wow.
good to know that people are willing to spend that kind of money to take that kind of a course.
Yeah. And so to apply for this acupuncture course, what's that process like?
It was really easy. All I had to do was show them that I was a regulated health professional.
Hmm.
That was it.
Oh, really?
So I just had,
Okay.
so I think they actually had asked me for like a picture or photocopy of my like registration, and I think I had like emailed them and be like, we're not allowed to do that.
Mm,
Because I know these rules from
yeah.
working at the CMTO. I was like, I can't make a copy of this of any kind. So
Right.
what I did is I was literally like, I went onto the CMTO registrar, took like a screenshot of like my name
Hmm.
and that I was registered, and like that I had no like current like
Complaints
allegations
or
or
anything.
anything
Yeah.
against me. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That I was in good standing with the college, attached it to an email, sent it to them, and then that was it. There
Oh,
wasn't like a
perfect.
huge process to it. Yeah, it was pretty easy. You just had to show, it's open to all regulated health professionals. So you didn't have to show
Hmm.
anything other than that you were under the RHPA.
Yeah, that's amazing. So,
Hmm.
from the last 10 years, starting school, graduating, getting your GC here with the College of Massage Therapists of Ontario, then going to BC for a year, and then coming back, all through your different clinics here in the Durham region. And now you're settled in for the last, what was it, 3-ish years on your
Yeah.
own, full practice. I can tell you, Nicole is full.
I
Um,
am busy.
yeah. Um, through all that, if you could sum up your why, I think you've touched on it a bit. Why massage therapy, and has that why ever changed or evolved over these last 11 years?
It's a good that's also a very good question. You're gonna be great at these podcasts, Heather.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, you're great at that.
I listen to
I,
so many.
that's well, you've definitely learned a lot. I guess my beginning why was that I always wanted to be in healthcare helping people.
Mhm.
Again, my mom was the one who suggested massage. I watched massage therapy help her through some, she had had like a car accident and some surgeries and stuff. And I really watched it help her. As I'd mentioned, I'd had massage since I was 8. I used to get headaches, and my mom took me to her massage therapist, and
Right.
I fell in love with it from a like a client point of view.
Hmm.
So I always really just wanted to help people, like I think most RMTs. I also really, always sort of really wanted to be self-employed. My father was self-employed my whole life,
Oh,
and
wow.
it seemed like the life. Yeah, so I was
Hmm.
really used to that kind of, I guess, way of living, career choice, I guess, model. So
Hmm.
I guess I really just got into it just for the sheer that I loved massages, and it looked like it could be something where I could get the best of both those worlds,
Hmm.
and it really, really has been. So my why has never really changed. I really like all the aspects. I really love getting to know patients and their life and their family, and knowing that I have like a direct like impact on their day to day. I don't take that very lightly. I know that what I do, and every day I go in there, every patient I see, like they've been waiting, and I think we can all say that same story when client shows up and they're like, "Oh my God, I've been thinking about coming here all day long." It
Hmm.
just like makes me feel so very good. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Uh, it it's a very rewarding, very like giving back job. And I've often told clients that I get just as much out of it as they do day
Yeah.
to day. Like, I really do feel that when they come in and I'm able either to turn their energy and they dare around, or they're just so happy to be there for
Hmm.
whatever reason. It's a, it's a good environment to like work and to live in day to day.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so I mean, now that I have like a family and stuff, my why sort of also is that I get to make my own schedule, so I can be home
Hmm.
with my little one
Yeah.
more than most and stuff like that. So part of the why of being in that sort of environment where you're self-employed, have your own clinic, make your own hours has
Hmm.
changed a little bit. But other than that, no, it's just I love to help people, and
Hmm.
very people-y person. So
Yeah.
being that direct with people, like one-on-one in a little room for an hour, is like the
Hmm.
most like intimate, personal you could really get with somebody. So I really love that.
For sure. I definitely agree with what you said about, you know, sometimes I explain it, especially with those really, all my clients are special, but the really special ones that stand out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes I leave that treatment room and I'm healed just as much as they are, just because of the
Mm-hmm.
energy shift in that room.
Absolutely. You can go on a bad day, like on a
Hmm.
bad note, knowing that you have to leave it at the door is one
Yeah.
thing, but to go in there and just like have that connection with someone,
Hmm.
yeah, it changes your whole day around, right?
Oh, for sure. And depending on what they walk in with, you could be having a bad day and whatever they dealt with. And you never want to compare like somebody's, their pain is worse than my pain, but sometimes it just gives you perspective and
Absolutely.
changes your energy, then you're able to change their energy. And it's just this like positive cycle of energy changing. Um,
Yeah,
for sure. I totally get that. That's amazing.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely. It's lovely. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that that I've been able to find that in a career. And I know that that's very like uncommon out there
Mm-hmm.
in the world to find like a career that you really do like love and have a passion for.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my husband often says he's pretty sure that if we win the lottery, I would still go to work. Like maybe
Yeah,
I'd take more vacation, but absolutely, like it really does give me just that much
I wouldn't walk
back.
away.
Like it's my hobby.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
walk away
You know
either.
what
Might be
I mean?
part-time
Like
and I might have more vacation. Yeah, but I would still do what I
absolutely.
would do. Hmm.
Yeah, like it's just everybody. I remember being asked once by a patient. I was young. I was probably like, I don't know, mid-20s, something like that. Just getting to know patient, and it was like, what do you do? Like, what are your hobbies, right? And I'm like, oh well, like I do amateur short distance
Mm.
triathlon, so I go to the gym, and I work. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty much my life. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, that's it. I work. I read about work. I talk about work. Like there's never a situation where like I go out and people like, this the whole, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh,
Hmm.
I'm a massage therapist. And then it's
Yeah.
like a 30-minute conversation about massage therapy. And like
Yeah.
it just always happens that way. Just
Because it
like
brings a
you know what I mean?
smile to people's faces.
Everyone's like, oh, gotta love a
Oh,
massage therapist.
yeah. Yeah. That's
So yeah,
amazing.
it absolutely. All right, are we going to talk about you now?
Sure. Sounds like you need a
All
little
right.
sip of water and a break.
I know it's
It's dry.
yelling Peppa Pig's. Yeah, so I'm singing and yelling Peppa Pig songs all day with my son. Yeah, fun
Yes.
time.
Mm.
All right, so we'll like flip it around here, Heather.
Sure.
So why don't you tell us how long you've been doing it? You have a very different story from mine, which is why it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, you have like this like really fun just seeing the profession and then kind of going away and coming back. And I love it. I remember the first time like I met you and heard that whole story. It definitely brought a smile to my face. So I'll send it over to you, but
All
start like
right.
where it all came from.
Right. Yes. I thank you for thinking it's beautiful. I definitely like to say it's diverse. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say when I came back recently, um, I was very insecure about the fact that I stepped away and came back and about the reasons why I did. And I was even afraid to like tell other practitioners, tell clients, because I'm like, oh, they're not going to have faith in me. But once I
Mm-hmm.
started opening up, and I'll admit, that started when I went on a podcast almost a year ago and talked about my
Mm-hmm.
that insecurity started to go away, and I started to just own it. And the second I owned it, I was felt like I could talk about it more and open up, and I've felt like I've connected, and maybe my story has helped a few other therapists or whoever out there. So just a little, yeah, segue there. But I,
Absolutely.
so when I,
There's a lot of RMTs that step away, so you never have
yeah,
to be ashamed about any of that. To anyone
yeah,
who's listening, like life takes you in lots of
hmm,
directions, but
yeah,
what's meant for you will find you, right? So,
yeah. So from high school, that's kind of where we have been starting.
yeah.
I was like a student athlete in high school. I was a volleyball player, played lots and lots of volleyball, and so I was always around the health and sport injuries was my thing. I loved sport injuries. Sprained my thumb, and I was more once the pain subsided and things like that. I was more like, okay, like how do I diagnose this? How do we tape it? How do we treat it? Like I was always in that mindset, as well as I had parents who were athletic and were university level athletes who were in the time of not caring for their injuries and have had subsequent many surgeries since because they didn't have that care. So that was always really important to me. And when I graduated high school and went on to university, I it was like I'm going to go to kin at McMaster and then I'm going to go to CMCC, which is the chiropractic college in Toronto. That was it. Like
Okay.
I'm going to be a chiropractor. And so yeah, so went to McMaster for in 2016, I think I started. I know I graduated in 2010, so that's 4 years. Loved my time there. It was great. I actually stepped away from the like varsity competitive level of volleyball, played intramurals, which was still competitive volleyball, and
Yes.
was still involved in volleyball, but I ended up getting involved in my student council instead. which I never was involved in student council growing up. So I just thought, try something new. And so I started out my second year, I was the like my year rep. And then third year, I was vice president. And in my final year, I was president of our kinesiology council, I guess you could say, and which was really cool. We got to we're very involved in a lot of charitable things, stuff for our students to get involved in, and then as well as sat on curriculum, which was I thought was really cool because I got to connect with my professors on a different level. And I think at that point, when I was in my presidency year, Sutherland Chan actually reached out to us and they did a yearly come in and do a little seminar presentation for students who are thinking of going on to massage. And I knew a couple students who went the year before and some that were planning to go in my year. So I was like, yeah, of course. And I ended up sitting in on it too. I just felt I was necessary as the president that I should sit in and listen to this
Absolutely.
and maybe take notes if anybody had questions that couldn't come. So that was kind of my first time interaction with massage as a career. I grew up having massage, but it was never in my mind to be a career. And that was my first like showing of that this could be a career possibility, even though in my mind I was still, I'm going to chiropractic college, of course.
Mm-hmm.
My university roommate, we lived for three and a half years together. I think we bonded because we were both planning that chiropractor route. She got in our final year. I did not.
Oh,
And
the universe had different plans for you,
yes,
Heather.
they did. I missed the GPA by, I believe it was 0.4 of a GPA.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. So the universe was really like, you need to go a different route. And I think,
Yes.
yeah. So, yeah, she went on to chiropractor college, graduated that, and she has a thriving career in that. So I'm super happy for her because that she was very much like, this is my path and I'm taking it. And mine just decided to weave in different directions. So when I didn't go into chiropractor college, I'm not going to lie, got in a bit of a panic mode of, oh my God, what do I do next? Especially since everybody was getting accepted into either their post, from there, their master's programs, physio programs, this
Absolutely.
and that. They had a plan, and I was sitting there going, well, my plan failed. So where do I go from here? It was just that.
Here.
Yeah. So I decided I was going to work for a year and do some volunteering. I had an idea. I still wanted to be in like the health world. So I ended up starting to volunteer at the sport physio clinic on campus. And there I met the athletic therapist. She was at the time the athletic therapist for the McMaster Marauders. So I started volunteering there. I started volunteering with her outside of the clinic as well, because she ran her own first responders for minor sporting events. So I had to go get my first responder, which if anybody doesn't know, that's pretty much the same level when it comes to like first aid as a firefighter. So,
oh wow,
I at some point, and I still would know, we were trained to deliver babies. Like if somebody was having a baby on the side of the road, I was trained to deliver the baby. So
that's very cool, actually.
Yeah, not a lot of people know.
And terrifying, but very cool.
100% terrifying.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that was a pretty intense. I think that was like a 6-day training, like on weekends. I believe it was like 3 weekends in a row. Very intense. But so I worked with her. I worked with the Marauders for home games with her.
Very cool.
So I was definitely sidelined the year before they won Vanier Cup, of course.
Oh, yes, of course.
That. But I was definitely cheering in my basement when watching them win the following year, of course. So I volunteered for a bit with her, and then I decided that's it. Like I love this because it's that sports side of it. I love being a part of the team, and I'm doing the health part of the team. I'm helping them. You put a thing of zinc oxide tape in my hand and I will tape every ankle. I love taping.
That's awesome.
So anyway, I decided, okay, yeah, I'm going to go to Sheridan College in Brampton and to do the athletic therapy program, which is a 3 or 4 year program. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But because I had my kin degree, I could start, I believe it was start in second year, and I could have get out of get out of classes or omit classes that I'd already taken. So I
In advanced standing.
yeah, I started there, and everything through that summer of working with the football teams, yeah, I'd helped the athletic therapist reduce a dislocated shoulder. I helped a lot with a lot of heat stroke, almost heat exhaustion cases, broken legs, this and that. And none of it bothered me. I was like, I'm good. Like, I can do this. Like I said, a lot of taped ankles, a lot of taped shoulders, AC joints, things like that. I got this. I can do it. Went to Sheridan. I was still volunteering on the side with this athletic therapist doing the fall football season. And I had 2 cases. I had a 13-year-old broke tib and fib. Wasn't compound fracture, but was fractured. And I was halfway across the field when he was screaming. And as soon as I was halfway across the field, I could see his leg was not straight. It was hanging. It was hanging.
God.
Because he had it in the air.
Traumatic.
So I turned to the referees and I said, grab my kit, the big kit, the big guy. Thank God one of the referees was a nurse. He ran it over. I am now holding this kid's leg, both parts of his leg in my hands, thinking, oh my God, now what do I do? I can't pull anything out of my kit. So I'm starting to tell them where things are in my kit. Next thing I know, somebody else coming running out of the stands. They're calling 911, even though I'd already directed somebody else to call 911. She's on the phone. Found out later she was EMS.
Okay. So she's like, she
knew, because as soon as that ambulance showed up, she was in the back of that ambulance getting stuff. So I was like, all right, you're EMS, got it. And
perfect.
We're still right before EMS showed up. I got a tap on my shoulder, and this very calm man just said, hi, I don't remember his name, so his name's Bob. Hi, my name's Bob. I'm an ER physician. Would you like me to take over? And I went, yes. You are an angel. Yes.
You're like, oh my God, please, yes.
Like, I relinquished care to you, and just started helping him. And he looked after it, got him into the ambulance. He shipped off to the hospital, collected all my things, got back to the sidelines, and they resumed play. I had
oh my God.
probably 5 minutes left of the game. It was my last game of the day. I think I sent a text off to my boss, the athletic therapist, and was like, just so you know, I'm probably going to be calling you after. Just had to send a kid off with tib-fib fracture. She's like, okay, great. Let me know, like, if you need anything, blah, blah, blah. Finish. I cannot tell you how much I was shaking in those last 5 minutes. I could not stop shaking, but I knew I had to hold it together for the kids.
Yes.
And the refs all came to me, how you doing? I'm good. You know, that tough guy. You know, I'm going to, they have my phone number. I'm going to try and reach out to them, see how he is, this and that later. As soon as I got in that car, I think I sat and cried for about an hour. I had to call my mom first, cry about all of it, and then I was able to compose myself to call my boss. And she would have understood the tears for sure, because this would have been my first major on my own.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, that's when I started questioning, can I really do this? And then the following week, I was like, no, you know, this is the first one. It's fine. The following week, I sent another 13-year-old to the hospital with a possible spinal fracture.
Oh, wow.
So that one I wasn't shaking as much, other than it was freezing cold. And there we were laying on the field. I have his head in like secured, so it's not moving. So basically using my forearms to secure, and I'm holding his shoulders. And the two of us, and I'm just like, what's your favorite sports team? What's your favorite class? What's your favorite music? Like, trying to keep him
Yeah.
calm as parents are
Hmm.
coming over, throwing coats, jackets, everything, because it was raining, of course, standing over us with
Yeah.
umbrellas, trying to keep us warm. And I'm trying to stay still, but I was to the point that like I was so cold, I was shivering, and I'm like, you have to hold him
Oh.
still. But anyways, he
Yeah.
he ended up not having a spinal, but again, better safe than sorry. So it was kind of,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was to the point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And then I was also part of my schooling. My team that I was working with was a hockey team, and it was a men's level, a lot of ex NHL, junior A players. So it was high level
Mm.
hockey. And I just remember standing on the bench one day going, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Oh,
I don't see people out there. I see knives on their feet. I see a
yeah.
projectile flying through the air, and I see weapons in their hands. I cannot do this. Also, at that time, we were learning VBA in class,
Oh.
and they did.
Hmm.
I was a, you do it on your partner, then your partner does it on you, and my partner goes, you have a positive VBA. So when that happened, it actually triggered some vertigo.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was probably about 3 months of vertigo starting at that point. So after all, and
wow.
all of that happened within the first month and a half of school.
Oh my goodness.
So a month and a half in, and I think it was Thanksgiving, I decided this isn't for me and I'm done. And I left. And then it was, now what do I do? Like, and I had thought before going to Sheridan, I'll do the advanced standing, because when I'd made the decision that I'm probably going to go to Sheridan, it was a year and a bit before I could get in, because I missed that
Hmm.
September. So I was like, well, I'll do the advanced standing at Sutherland Chan. It's a year. And then by the time I'm done that, then school will start. And my parents went, really think about the money of that and how many years of
Oh
school.
yeah.
Really make sure, like, that's fine, but really make sure it's something you want. And I said, actually, I'm going to work for a year
Hmm.
before starting Sheridan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't do the massage, but it was like, it was there. The seed was planted. Um,
For sure.
so yeah, so then I decided, so that was October when I left Sheridan, and I was about till January with vertigo. So everything was kind of, life was on hold. And I think I'd gotten really bad case of strep throat in that time. Just my health was not good. And my
Hmm.
mental health was being affected during that time too. So then finally my parents said, you know, your vertigo is starting to be on the mend. You don't have strep throat anymore. We really think you should go on a trip and visit your friend in England. I think they just needed to get me motivated for something, because I was not. And I
Absolutely.
went to England. My flight there went up in the air, and I felt something in my temple, like it right between my eyebrows, my sinus right there,
Hmm.
just pop, and everything went away.
Oh my gosh.
Everything. Like it wasn't like a painful pop. It was like a relief, like, if you're
Leaving.
a relieving kind of pop. And I was like, and my vertigo was gone after that. And I only had bouts of random dizziness, but I don't think anything more than the average person might get the odd time.
Absolutely.
Since so yeah, and then
That's fluky.
yeah,
That's lovely.
yeah, oh yeah, it was not fun. And yes, so
No.
then I believe I actually applied for advanced standing at Sutherland Chan before took off, like before I departed for England. I was only there for 8 days, and I came home and found out I was accepted and started that June.
Awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about, since I talked about Fleming's sort
Mm.
of course and how it goes, of Sutherland Chan, so we can kind of have the comparison of the two.
Yeah. So Fleming, like you had mentioned, is more your traditional community college structure, where Sutherland Chan is a professional school in Toronto. And I had a great time, amazing time. But like you said, very intense as well. They're going right into massage. It's a 2 year program, and you really only get the odd week off here and there.
Okay.
For advanced standing, if you came with a healthcare background, um, you did the advanced standing. You actually did the whole entire first year in, I believe it was 12 or 13 weeks over the summer, so that you're caught up
Oh,
to
wow.
start with the second years in September.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah, very intense. But again, when it came to classes, we all had a pretty significant background in anatomy and physiology, biology, cardiovascular. We kind of already had pathologies as well. So it was more brushing up on those things and then
Mhm.
how they applied to massage. And then
And then
get it.
the basic theory and
Yeah.
principles of massage. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yep.
Yeah. And how, the indicators, risks, contraindications, based on whatever the pathology or condition was. That was kind of where we needed to bridge the gap. They called us bridgers. And
Yep.
and then get our palpation and skills techniques up to par.
Okay.
So that was from June until about September. And then, yeah, we joined the second years and kind of the same structure, I'd say, where we went to class something like 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. And one day a week, we had our general clinic rotation. And in the summer, it was like through the Bridger in your first year, it's relaxation clinic. You're really honing in on that relaxation full body within an hour because that is a skill to learn. uh,
Yes, it is.
and then you worked into more treatment based in your second year, as well as your specialty clinic, same as Fleming. We had sport, there was pregnancy clinic, there was high risk pregnancy. We also had palliative care. We had, I believe, some people went into retirement and nursing homes, as well as I think a few groups down went to the HIV/AIDS clinic in Toronto. So you could it was almost like a lottery system where you say, these are my top three, here are my top five choices, these are my top three, and then it's a lottery from there,
Lottery.
what you get.
Fleming did the same thing
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lottery. It's like you put in your top one, I think, to
Yeah.
get a few less options
Right.
than it sounds like you had, and then they hopefully put you in the one
Right.
you want. I think they did a pretty good job. I
Mm-hmm.
got in all the ones that I wanted to,
Oh,
so
that's good. Yeah, same here. I
yeah.
I
So
had sport, high risk pregnancy, and stroke clinic.
oh, cool.
Yeah, so I worked with, yeah, a very diverse group of people there, which is amazing. But again, just like you had mentioned, I always thought, yeah, I'm going to be in a multidisciplinary, sport focused. I'm only working with athletes. I don't know where this comes from,
Absolutely.
maybe because I was an athlete, but that was my thought. But yeah, so finished that in June of 2013, and by did my OSCE and my MCQ pretty well right away, and I was had my registration and my GC come August, I believe August 7th, around there. 2013 is when I started practicing.
Oh, nice. And where did you start practicing? Was it a multidisciplinary clinic or was it somewhere else? Like, did you work multiple places?
I worked to start with another massage therapist in Whippy. It was a great clinic, great location. Um, it was a very big clinic. I was spoiled in the sense, I mean, big, like big treatment rooms. I think because a massage
Oh, okay.
therapist
Yeah.
owned it, it was big, and like laundry on site, everything there. And we worked off a split with a cap. Um, and that I started there with a 70/30. So to start off, I was pretty lucky with a 70/30 with a cap, just like you were
Hmm.
saying too. It was great.
It's so funny how
Yeah,
those don't come by, but that's where we both started,
yeah,
right?
that's where we both started. We were very
Spoiled.
lucky, privileged, however you want to say it.
Hmm.
Um, but she was great. She took on definitely a mentorship role. We would do exchanges once a month, and she would say, "Okay, that's a great way to approach this, but here's how I approach it. This is just to add to your toolkit." And she also did cupping as well, and she was an instructor. for a cupping course, and I ended up taking that within my, I think in 2014 I took that. So pretty
Oh,
soon.
perfect.
Yeah, I had some restrictions in my shoulder from not playing volleyball anymore, or playing volleyball where, I wasn't maybe mindful of my skill and body positioning because I was just, playing around.
Playing.
So I had some
Yeah,
shoulder
absolutely.
issues from that, and after two cupping treatments, I had full range of motion and no pain. And I was
Sold.
yeah, and I was able to throw a ball again and play volleyball to some degree without pain. Now, what, 6 years later, I am back in pain, but that's a whole other story.
Story.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, so then I worked there for roughly a year, but at that point I had moved from one parent's house to the other parent's house, out in north of Port Hope. And so commuting from Port Hope to Whitby every day, same with your commuting to Uxbridge.
Uxbridge.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
kind of getting a little much. So I ended up finding a position in a clinic out in Coburg, and multidisciplinary. It had a chiropractor, a naturopath, a chiropodist, and another massage therapist in it. And it was very predominant in the community, this clinic, very well known. So a lot of
Mhm.
people coming in and, again, filling that schedule. Um,
Yes.
and they were involved with the local junior A hockey team. So I ended up, for the last bit of their season, being involved with that junior A hockey team out there.
Oh, that's really great
Yeah,
because to be able to have the knowledge you had from all of the volunteering you did and all of that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and out in these smaller towns, you don't
Yes.
have a lot more as much access to athletic therapists and things like that for sports teams like that. So they had a trainer that was on, who he'd just been doing it so long and had been keeping up with whatever first aid he needed, that he's basically grandfathered in. Then the junior A
Oh, wow.
association allowed him to continue being the trainer. And so they had a few people on that helped, your equipment manager and this and that. But there was times that I would stay for at least like I'd be there before game start and get, your sport massage pre-game warm up. Um, and
Hmm.
the chiropractor and I would be there. So both of us would be working on them. And then I kind of started sticking around because I thought, got to get my foot in, got to get my name out there. So I started sticking around for the first period, second periods. So there was a few times a couple kids would come off the ice and the trainer would be like, come with me when this happens. Not on ice because that's a liability, but
Yes.
and I would help do quick assessments. He would be doing a few
Oh,
things
nice.
and then he'd be like, I kind of don't know where to go with that. And so I would just be like, all right, this special test, this, that, like I had a kid came off elbow, was just hurting. And a couple of the guys were like, oh, we can't figure it out. Like there's no blood, there's no break. So it was just before the
Yeah.
swelling set in, it was, cruciate or collateral ligament tests to see if there
Yes.
was something going on there. And then it was, okay, tape him up this way. If he can get back on the ice, let's throw some ice on it. Like, let's see if we can get the pain under control and see if it was just kind of, maybe a bit of a burner stinger or a bruise that subsides, and get him back out on the ice. But yeah, so I did that for a little bit, which was a lot of fun. And during their playoff, I went on a couple road games with them as well. So yeah, pretty cool. So, but I was there probably, let's say, give or take 6 months. Um,
Okay.
and some stuff happened at the clinic, and the clinic was changing hands. And so when that happened, the owner, the chiropractor, had said, I just given you this contract and this is happening. That's was kind of out of my control. I had no choice in it happening. Um, he was gracious enough to just say, we can either you can stay and your contract will shift over to the new owner, or we'll just void it now and both go our separate ways. And so I
Hmm.
had been for like the last while, only my partner knew at the time that um, I was getting angry when people were booking in, and I was angry when my schedule
Mm.
was empty. I just,
Okay.
I
Yes.
think what I've determined now is burnout. At that time, it was the
Yes.
universe is telling me I'm not supposed to be here.
Uh,
So
Absolutely.
I had said to him, like, I'm going away on a family vacation over Christmas. Let me think and decide. And when I was away on vacation, I said, nope, that's it. I'm going to go find, what I thought was a more secure job, pension and benefits. And,
Yes.
every week I can count on the exact same paycheck.
Same.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so I gave them about a month and walked away. I kept my GC for the rest of that year. So that would have been 2015. And then I went inactive in 2016.
16.
And then, so then, whatever, October 2016, I said, I'm not even going to pay for the inactive. I'm never going back. And yeah, and
Back.
I just retired or resigned, or what resigned is what the term would have been at that time. And I worked a few different office jobs. Yeah. So, uh,
So talk about a little bit how you found your
back.
way back to massage therapy.
Yeah, so I bounced around a few office jobs, which were great. I learned a lot of background of business, and these weren't in the health field at all. They weren't even close. But I learned a
Okay.
lot with marketing and how to run businesses, because two out of the three were run by families. So they had
Oh, okay.
started as a small business and grew into these empires. So that was really cool to see. And then my last one was in the massage field, kind of. Um, I was working alongside the massage field, and I was asked if I would ever get my general certificate back. I said no, but that kind of also planted the seed again. And a little before that, I had received that position. I had been, what, a year or two before, had been introduced to you. And you were actually my therapist for a while.
I was.
And I remember after my first treatment with you, coming home to my boyfriend, my partner, and saying, "Oh, don't worry, like I'm not going back to massage, but if I ever went back to massage, that's exactly how I would run my business. That's exactly how I would want it." And then every time I would see you after that,
We would
we would
talk about
talk
it.
about massage, because I'd be like, "Oh, I heard this is going on, or this," or we would talk cases, all of that. And every time I left, I would be like, "Okay, maybe if I got my GC back and I worked weekends or this,"
Yes.
and then I'd be like, "No, no, 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 like you're being silly. You can't give up this, steady pay with pension and benefits. Like you can't give that up." So then when this position came around, it started planting the seed again a little bit. And again, I was working kind of alongside massage therapy students. So once they found out I used to be a massage therapist, they would stop me and ask me questions, and not just like help me with my homework, but also like just questions about the industry too. So
Industry.
I really liked working alongside them. And then I left that position, and I decided, with that, I had a little bit of time to mull and think over before starting anything else. And I said, no, I'm going back. I want to be in charge of my own future. I want to be my own boss. I went to school and I got these skills for a reason. I'm
Hmm.
gonna go back and I can do it. I think before, burnout, and I lost a little bit of my confidence when I decided to leave before.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, I think when that all happened, because you saw me through this very stressful point in my life, I came to you and said, I am now going back to massage.
And it brought a huge smile to my face because it was right from the beginning. I remember uh, you coming in, and I think you sort of prefaced with, I used to be an RMT, but I'm not anymore. Do you
Yep.
know what I mean? And I could just like, even with that, even though at that point, I don't think you had even sort of even thought about it all. Just in talking to you, I could always sort of see you had that passion
Hmm.
for like manual therapy and
Hmm.
healthcare. And you had so much knowledge around it,
Yeah.
obviously, hearing your whole background with it. So it was just
Yeah.
lovely, as we were talking with clients and they come in and we get as much as like they get from us. It was
Mm-hmm.
very much that for me
Oh,
when you would
really?
come in. It was very
Aw.
nice. Yes, absolutely. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Coming in, you could sort of talk the talk, and it was it was really nice just seeing someone. And I know I don't I hope I didn't. I don't think at any time I'd sort of like tried to push you or
No.
anything. But I could just see it. You could sort of just see it. I could just feel like when you would talk about it, you would bring it up
Mm.
in just the way in which you would talk about the whole
Y-
profession and all of that. It just seemed like
Yeah.
you really loved it. At
I feel
right
like,
still, like deep down, you really
yeah,
loved
I
it.
feel like you started to give me confidence back in it. You, as well as I'm still friends with one of the girls that I made friends with in massage school. And we had, continued to do exchanges when I was working. And then when I wasn't working, I kind of like was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore, but like, I'll pay you to massage me. And she completely understand that and kind of saw how everything, like, saw me go through that burnout and gave me the space. And then, then she got pregnant. She was like, dude, I'm hurting. Like, do you mind? And so I was like, yeah, I'll massage you. We'll do an exchange. And
Okay.
then she started to, and I think that was about the same time I started seeing you. And so at the same time, both of you started building my confidence back up with it. And then eventually I was like, I can do this. What am I stressed
Do
about?
it.
I'm going to be my own boss, all of this. So, yeah, I definitely think it, I don't think you pushed me, but I think you inspired me for sure.
Oh,
For
well, I'm
sure.
glad because
Aw,
you're lovely.
thanks. Yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely. And I know from clients that we share, they absolutely
Aw,
think you're
thanks.
wonderful. So I'm glad that you found the confidence to come
Yeah.
back through all of your like
My
whole
diverse
journey,
background.
because all those people,
But like you would,
because all the people that you're
yeah.
helping now, they
Yeah.
wouldn't have you. So it's
There's a
lovely that
reason
they
why I'm
do.
here. Um, yeah.
Absolutely.
I forget what I was gonna say, but that's okay.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, we have very
Hmm.
different ways in and around and to the profession, and yet we both work in the
Yeah.
exact same place with the exact same four walls and have very similar ideals on how to approach
Hmm.
business and work with clients, and even treatment approaches within like the clients and stuff like that. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's interesting. Totally different
Yeah.
schools, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and all of that. And yet here we
Exactly.
are,
And that
right?
was that
So
was what I was gonna say is I think even though when I started massage the first time I was a bit older, I was about 25 years old, 25, 26, something like that. Um, I still think I was too young when it came to the business side of it. And me going and learning and seeing these other businesses and the ins and outs, I learned what makes a business work and what doesn't make a business work. Um, the ups and
absolutely.
downs and how I would do things. And it made me, I think, a little bit more decisive, and have the ability to, and the confidence to say, like, as a business owner, I don't know if this is the right decision. I'm going to try to research the best I can and try it. And if it fails, it fails. And that's okay. That's just the next step. It's not a fail, it's a lesson. Um, and move on.
Hmm.
Before, I don't think I would have had that confidence. So I think it was important for me to like step back and then re-enter at 30. What was I, 32 years old, and
Yep,
come back into it.
absolutely, for sure.
And our situation at the time too, my home situation was a bit more stable this time around going into it. So it offered me that support to be able to. So yeah, so now we're back and this is where I am. And like I said, it's always kind of been in my life in healthcare. Like my parents have, I've grown up in and around hospitals and stuff with various conditions that my parents have. And so, and then them being involved in sport as well. It was always kind of there on the back burner. Me going for massages for my shin splints at 13 years old. And yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Weren't we so fortunate to have parents to take us to massage
Yes,
at such young
yes,
ages, right?
and have parents that understood and appreciated the benefits of it, right? So,
Absolutely. Because you go back, well, what, 20,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like 25
hmm
years or so. It wasn't as
hmm
popular or even close to as well respected within the
no,
healthcare community as it is
that's for
now.
sure.
So,
That's
yeah,
for
it's kind of
sure.
neat, right?
Yeah,
We live in a new age
we
for
do.
sure.
So, to close out this conversation, I guess we can kind of describe what our clinic is like now between the two of us. I'll let you kind of take that.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So the clinic is, I'll literally start with the size. It's like 230 square feet. It's an office within a larger office building. It has a
hmm
reception area and then a tiny little treatment room. I wish it was
hmm
bigger, but it is what it
We'll
is.
get
One
there.
day we'll get there, right? Um, so it's a single practitioner one-on-one with a patient, which I think is very unique out there. I do think that most RMTs, if they get any, they're out in multidisciplinary clinics. So you have that big waiting room, multiple room happening type of environment. And I don't think at least I haven't really come across it where you see in massage therapists who it's one
hmm
on one with you
hmm
when they walk in, unless they're working out of their house
Right.
or house calls. Generally, because it's not affordable to
Mm-mm.
do that kind of a thing. So very unique office space environment where it's just you and a patient. Maybe they are walking out and someone's walking in, but that's about the extent of having. There's no generally more than two people in the
And
office
the
ever
and
at
a
one
really
time.
big
So
benefit I
uh,
like and have found to that is we can really keep confidentiality. We
yes, we can
yeah,
absolutely.
and make our really show our clients that we do take it seriously and that it's a big thing in our clinic because nobody else is here unless they bring somebody with them to their appointment. hmm
Absolutely. Yeah, they really get that
hmm
secure feeling. They get the one of the things I try to offer sort of at the clinic or make like sort of the feeling or energy is that I'm
hmm
there for them. I try to sort of make that like every person I've almost just shown up that day to
hmm
work
hmm
just for them. Do you know what I mean? And I think that goes a long way in the fact that they feel like you're really taking the time to really
Yeah.
get to know them and what their needs are on sort of like
hmm
a different level. This world is so much busy. How many people can you put in 1 hour to make
Yeah.
X amount of dollars? So we don't really have that at our clinic. It literally is just
hmm
like me and you, and that's about it. So that's one reason when I found this space, I moved into it. It's because I knew that was something I could
hmm
offer without having to do it out of my house. I was living in
Yeah.
an apartment at the time,
Yeah.
so that was not an option. So I wanted to be able to make all the decisions just for me and just for that patient in
hmm
that space. And this really offers that sort of environment, which is really
Yeah.
neat. I like it. It's nice in that you don't feel like you're the
Yeah.
next person just waiting. Do you know what I mean? Like it offers you that ability to just
Keep the
keep
focus
that sort of
on
like
that
zen
client as
going.
well as your follow-ups, your home care. Usually, let's all be honest, usually we all discuss that at time of doing the transaction, and in our clinic
Mm-hmm.
it's still private and confidential. hmm
Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Because you're literally in that reception room which
yeah,
now you're in the reception
yeah,
area with just them, as
yeah,
opposed to in the treatment
yeah, for
room with
sure.
just them.
I
So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. It's
yeah,
a unique environment.
I've had a few
That sort of
clients that have
just.
come over and been referred to me by like their family members, a client, and they said they had really bad experience at other clinics. And when I said, why, mostly wanting to make sure that there was no boundaries crossed and make sure they were safe. They just said
Yes.
they just didn't like the atmosphere. It was too busy. They felt like on the table they could hear what was going on outside the room and they couldn't relax. And I was like, well, the only thing you'll hear here is
hmm
possibly a siren if it goes by or somebody walking up and down these stairs, pretty much. But usually our music can drown that out, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so we have this small little
Absolutely.
room. And then for you and I, we actually just run our own businesses out of the room. So we call it an office share, essentially, that we run our own businesses. We're
Yes.
not under an umbrella of each other, and I pay you a straight
No.
rent. Hmm.
Yes,
And
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
oh, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say, no, it
sorry,
was
go ahead.
great because we started with, you had said this was the rent, and we grew it over time, and what I really enjoyed was you really worked with me as a new therapist and understanding that it's going to take time for me to build, and did offer to me that, we'll build this up and this is what the next 6 months would look like. But if any of those months something happens and you can't make rent, let me know. We can flip it over to whatever works for you, right? And I truly appreciated that because you just wanted to see me build instead of trying to, make money off of me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I sort of like made that model based on what I sort of
Hmm.
wish someone had have like started with me. I know that sounds sort of silly, but when I started out, and I was looking for a place, I knew the value I had, and I knew it would just take time for me to get there. And something that really like kind of me every time I'd go into like a meeting with a clinic owner was that they wanted to help you in the beginning, but
Hmm.
they really wanted to like reap
Hmm.
all of the benefit in the end when you had
Hmm.
worked your butt off to get there. And I, one, you being there helps me a ton
Hmm.
because then I get to be home. Also, you help with a lot because I am busy. I've
Right.
reduced my hours with having a little one. So I feel confident in
Hmm.
like referring to someone. Not that I don't have other RMTs that I do refer to, but it's nice when clients know the place, know the four walls already, and they just like to
Right.
sort of stay in that space. So that's lovely. But I I built that model just on that if I were
Hmm.
starting and I were like new, what did I really would I like love someone to sort of help me out and what would keep
Hmm.
me in a
Hmm.
place? Do you know what I mean? So because you're ultimately like your
Hmm.
success is your own, and that's sort of like
Yeah.
where that went with that. I'm not there to make like $1 million off of any given person. I just really wanted someone to help me cover the bills so that I could feel less pressure
Yeah.
staying
Yeah.
home.
So
That was really basically it.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not
Yeah. So
here.
you could make
Someone
the
should
life
be.
that you
So,
and your family want to have, right? That makes sense for you. And I
absolutely.
appreciated it coming
Exactly.
back in after
For
leaving
sure.
because I felt stuck. I felt frustrated. Like, this is it. Like, I have to rely on another practitioner to fill my business and this and that. Um, I really appreciated that, like, you allowed me to grow. And also, this model, I think, just works better for me because I'm the only person that I have to rely on. So, if I've had those weeks in this past
Hmm.
9 months, you've seen me go through it where I've had many deaths in the family and this and that come up, and I've been having to, like, okay, you know what, this week I need to take a step back for my own mental health. I need to be with my family, this and that. So I kind of reel it back. And then on the weeks where I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, this, we're in a good space, I can ramp those weeks up. And it seems like, again, the universe knows it. It knows it happens, the ebbs and flows, and it's
Absolutely.
worked out. And it's like, if I feel like if I worked for somebody else, those weeks when that happens, um, like, I wouldn't be able to make those adjustments without feeling guilty to somebody else. And I think,
Absolutely.
hmm,
Yeah, I feel like you owe
yeah,
them
yeah, where
because you're
for
not
me, like,
there.
this works for me.
Absolutely.
And um, I'm a, you might learn over the years, I know Nicole knows, I am a stats person. I have spreadsheets everywhere, and I still have my stats from before. And me
Hmm.
being on my own in these last 9 months, my weekly average of appointments and revenue is almost double, almost triple what it was when I started out working with other people. So the idea that you need somebody, and I do have support from you, and you're bringing dropping your hours, and that pushes people into my schedule if they choose to. Um, yeah, They have to choose it.
Exactly.
They're not
They
just
have to choose it.
scheduled
Yeah.
in there. But that model of you have to rely on another
No.
practitioner, I think my story and both of our stories are a testament that it's not
Hmm.
necessary, that it's not the law.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I had
Hmm.
absolutely. I had a similar thing
Hmm.
being that I went from working at a clinic where I was booked out pretty like far in advance. Like if you wanted an evening, it
Hmm.
was going to be 4 or 6 weeks in advance. So to drop from that to going out on your own, I found, yeah, it only took a few months till I was
Hmm.
doing the exact same amount of hours that I was working there. And then from there, it just like exponentially got bigger. And it's crazy to think how not
Right.
busy I was for
Yeah.
the first like 7 years of my career. I mean, you have to grow
Hmm.
and you have to learn, you have to evolve. But yeah, you definitely don't. And I will say honestly, like I do very minimal. If I don't
Yeah.
actually advertise at all anymore, I don't have the space for it. But I drop like little to no money on advertising, or anything like that. I mean, it's important, but it's doing it in the right sort of way. I think probably part of that, and something you might attest to, is when you work at a multidisciplinary clinic, they're splitting their time in like 4 or 5 different ways. Like they're promoting like um their
Yeah.
physio, their chiro, their massage. You know what I mean? So their advertising goes that way. Whereas when you're focusing all of your advertising, all of your energy on building like one, I think it proves to build faster, quicker, better type of
Yeah, for sure.
clientele base. So yeah, it was um it'd be yeah, it's a great age to be a massage therapist, I think. I think if you really hone in and focus and are willing
Hmm.
to work hard, you can definitely do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
think we have a good thing going.
Perfect. So is there anything
Awesome.
else that you feel like we didn't touch on? So,
No, I
yeah.
don't think so. I think we kind of summed up our backgrounds. If there is
Other,
anything, I'm
yeah,
sure will come out
future
in
podcasts and
future
other
podcasts.
topics we'll
Yeah,
elaborate maybe more
absolutely.
on, like we'd said before, like maybe we'll have one on all our sports and our backgrounds and why we wanted to get into sports and all of this. But yeah, yeah, all right,
Hmm.
perfect.
I think that,
Yeah,
yeah,
me too.
absolutely. I think this
Yeah,
was
and the
good.
social
Hopefully.
distancing works out when it comes to podcast reporting. You don't really skip a beat. We thought it would be a little weird not being in the
No.
same room, but just like talking on the phone with your girlfriend. So, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we
yeah,
found our flow
just
there
sitting
after
here
the first little bit. It was
with
like,
my cup of tea and
but I
chatting with
think
my
we got it.
girlfriend. So, alrighty, perfect. Well, thank you everybody so much for
Absolutely.
listening to our first podcast. We look forward to recording many more. Please be sure to tune in on your favorite podcast streaming app and rate us where you can. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover, please be sure to share it in the comments and take care, and we'll see you next time.